Hi there. My name is Paul LaBotte.
Oh, I'm Mike Miller.
And welcome to Stir the Pot. On Stir the Pot, we hope to show you how to make some good Cajun food. This is going to be stuff that you might see in our kitchens at any particular day. This is stuff that we make maybe after we get off of work or on Sundays when the family comes over. We hope you enjoy.
Today's ingredients are ground meat, bell pepper, onion, and celery. It's called the what, Paul? The Trinity?
Well, not the ground meat.
Well, not the ground meat, but
yeah, onions, bell pepper, and celery. It's what we're known as the Cajun Holy Trinity.
But in my house, that ain't gonna fly. We don't like, my kids don't like bell peppers and celery. So what we got to do is we have the onions, and we maybe do a little bit of garlic and a little bit of pepper and seasoning. That's okay too, you know. You can change it up a little bit as you need. But the main ingredients are here. As you see, it's very basic. So how much you want me to put in? How much you want me to put in here?
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
We're gonna feed a lot of people.
Oh yeah. The whole
That's
thing.
about that's almost 5 pounds of ground beef there. That is an 88-12 mix. I don't like
That
to go
is
too
the
lean.
percentage of fat to meat.
Yeah, 88 lean and 12%. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dice up a small to medium onion, and we're going to chop this one up pretty fine because we're gonna have it inside of the meatballs. We don't want it to be too big and chunky. So we're just gonna get this onion diced up really fine. And I'm just using some yellow onions. And this is the way I like to chop them. And we're going to do some really thin slivers. It's always good to use a very sharp knife. You get a much cleaner cut and it's easier to control. You know, any kind of cultural cooking, like, you know, Cajun cooking and all, a lot of it has to do with tradition. And you're going to cook the same way your family did. And that's okay. The way I'm making my meatball stew is the way my mama made it. And it may be different than what other people do. And that's fine. All right. 1 small onion, finely diced. We're going to put in about 3 or 4 tablespoons of a good Creole seasoning. I like to put in a little extra garlic powder. That's about a half a tablespoon, and about another tablespoon or so of chili powder. And because I'm a sucker for black pepper, I'm going to add a little more black pepper in there. That's about a tablespoon. All right, so we're going to mix this up, but we don't want to overwork it, because when you overwork it like that, it makes the meat very dense, and it's not as, you can't break it apart as easy. So we're just going to kind of break this up a little bit.
He's talking about the texture when you're eating the meatballs. If you mash it up too much, the texture when you're eating is a little bit dense and stuff like that.
Yeah. Just gonna kind of fold it in on itself a bunch. Get the seasonings all blended in well until everything is pretty well mixed evenly. All right, so now we're ready to make the meatballs. I'm gonna take the meatball, I'm making it about the size of a racquetball. Some people like them bigger, some people like them smaller. I don't care that it's not perfectly round. To me, it's beautiful just like it is. right, this is the classic Cajun Holy Trinity. We've got onions, bell pepper, and celery here. This is going to be a basis for a lot of dishes that I make. And a lot of times people will brown these first before they put it in the meatball stew. However, I'm not browning anything because my mom was always in a hurry at the end of the day to get supper on, and so we didn't brown anything when we made a stew. We just put the meatballs and the vegetables and everything in into the boiling water, and or into the cold water, and cooked it that way. So over here, I'm going to show you, I've got my Magnolite pot. This is a 20-inch oval roaster, and I have it about a third full of water. I'll go ahead and turn that on. Let's get some heat going. There we go, nice and hot. And this is how I normally start my meatball stew. To this, I'm going to add a pint of roux, and I'm going to use an already prepared roux in a jar. You can make your own roux, and that's fine. But again, I'm all about some shortcuts. I'm just going to take the roux out with a spoon and drop it directly into my cold water. And I have my heat on high. I want to bring this up to a boil. Now you got to watch it, because whenever you're cooking with roux and you're putting in water and it starts to boil, it tends to foam up and can foam up and spill over the top of the pot. So you want to watch that. You just stir it and lower your heat if that happens. No big deal. I'm going to use the entire pint in here. If you don't have access to pre-made roux, there's lots of ways you can find to make it. The traditional way is to cook roux in a cast iron pot or a skillet over a long time, over low to medium heat, until you get the color you want, which is this nice dark brown, kind of fudge looking color. Now if you want to do a smaller pot, by all means, you scale up and down however much you need. But traditionally a meatball stew is a very thick, very hearty stew. So I like to use a lot of roux.
All right, we're using red potatoes today because we didn't have any other kind of potatoes today. You can use red potatoes, brown potatoes. I like them golden potatoes. Those golden potatoes are pretty good. Nice and silky when you cook them. Red potatoes are more in that genre, I think. But russet potatoes are what we usually use in our stews and our rice and gravy back home. When I say back home, I talk about a couple of blocks away.
All right. I'm going to stir the pot to make sure that the roux we put in is not sticking to the bottom, and it's dissolving nicely, and the water as it heats up starting to look really good. All right, so this is what I was talking about. It's starting to come to a boil, and you can see that with that roux in there, it's starting to really foam up. That's normal. That doesn't mean anything's wrong. It just means that your roux is just about ready. I'm going to go ahead and turn my fire down a little bit. Make sure that it doesn't flow over.
Yeah, usually back home, if that starts happening, I usually have to turn the fire down. And you have to keep an eye on that, because when you're using roux, either this or a gumbo, if you're not watching it, it will fall over.
Yep. All right. So now that the roux is all dissolved, we're going to start adding in all of our ingredients. So our Cajun Trinity, onions, bell pepper, and celery is going in. And then we're going to add in our meatballs. All right. So we just added 24 meatballs to this pot, and we're going to let that come up to a boil, and we're going to let that cook for about a half hour or so. and then I'm going to add in some potatoes and carrots. All right, so let me give this a good stir. It's looking really good. Everything's nice, warming up. I'm going to go ahead and add some seasoning to it now. Again, I'm not going to give you an exact measurement because I don't do exact measurements. But again, I'm probably going to put about 5 or 6 tablespoons because we are making a big pot and it's going to take a lot of seasoning. So basically, what I'm doing is I'm covering the top of the liquid here about 3 or 4 times. Then I'm going to stir it in nice and gently. We don't want to be too aggressive with the stirring because we don't want to break up our meatballs. Okay. All right, we're going to let this go a little bit longer. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to turn it down to simmer. We're going to cover it up, and after a little while, we'll add in the potatoes and carrots. We're starting to get a little boil going here, so that's good. I'm going to stir the pot, and it's looking beautiful. Oh, did I break it? Yeah, you see that when you stir the pot too much, you break a meatball. Oh no. Okay, well, it'll be all right. It's still gonna taste good. All right.
We'll give that to his son he don't like.
That's right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn the pot down, and we're gonna cover it up, and we're gonna cook that for about 30 minutes. Guess what I'm about to do? Stir the pot. Oh, it smells so good. Woo. Yes, sir. All right. I'd like to introduce another member of my family. This is Lulu. She's our mascot. Lulu is about 8 years old, and she's a Chihuahua mix, and she has ballooned into a very voluptuous size, and she likes to hang out in here while we cook, and she holds up the cabinet for us, right, Lulu? Okay, so Q&A time. Mike.
Oh.
Where are you from, Mike?
Ville Platte. Where are you from, Paul?
Well, I'm also from Ville Platte. Why don't you tell me where you live now?
Maybe what, 4 blocks down the road?
And what town? What city?
Oh, Lafayette.
Lafayette,
Yeah,
Louisiana.
Lafayette.
Yeah. So we're both from a small town in South Louisiana called Ville Platte. We both consider ourselves Cajuns, if not by ancestry, then by default, just because of where we live.
Yeah. And
let's see. We grew up together. We were friends all through school. I was in. You were in my wedding.
I was in your wedding, yes. I had a smaller wedding.
Yeah.
My wife's from Texas. She didn't have very many friends here, so we did a couple. Mm-hmm. And you read my wedding. Yeah, it was very nice.
Okay, Mike. What is your favorite thing to cook?
My favorite thing to cook is barbecue.
Nice. And are you a beef, pork, chicken, sausage kind of guy?
I am a pork and chicken kind of guy.
Myself. Yeah. I enjoy barbecuing also, but I think I'm better in the kitchen.
I'm an indirect heat kind of guy. Indirect means that your food is not on top of the fire; it's on the side of the fire.
Low and slow.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. What cut of pork do you like to barbecue?
What's on sale? Yeah,
I heard that.
What's on sale?
What's on sale?
Yep.
I prefer the Boston butt steaks,
Oh, yeah.
but they gotta be thick. Don't give me no little thin ones. I want a good meaty, 3/4 to an inch thick.
Oh yeah,
That's the good stuff.
that's good stuff. What's your favorite thing about cooking?
Usually it's when I'm cooking. I kind of feel at peace when I'm cooking. It's what I do to unwind. For some people, cooking is it's a chore. It's something they just have to do. But for me, generally, I enjoy it, and it kind of lets me wipe the rest of the day away. I enjoy cooking for people because I feel like when you cook for people, it's like it's an expression of love.
Exactly.
That's why I'm doing this, is because I feel like cooking is a way to express your love to people.
He's one of the best cooks that I know, and I've been trying to get him to do this for about 5 years. So I'm excited that today is our first day, and his food is excellent.
I hope this. All right, folks. I guess it's time to stir the pot. Let's see how it looks. Oh, if y'all could smell this. Oh my goodness. The meatballs are coming in very nicely. They're taking in all that good roux-based gravy. I can go ahead and add my potatoes and carrots, and we're going to let those cook for a while until they're nice and tender, and then we'll check the gravy and make sure that it's seasoned well enough, and we'll go from there. Leftover meatball stew is delicious. You can eat it just like you did the first time over rice. One thing I like to do is to make a sandwich with it. You take a nice po' boy bun and you slice it open and you put in some meatballs. You put some of that gravy on top of it. Man, it makes a great sandwich. All right, so I just brought the pot up to a boil because I want to take some of the grease off the top. So I am just going to get it to boil a little bit, and that helps push the grease out to the sides and collect. And I am going to scoop up the grease with my spoon here and get rid of it. All right, so it's been going on for about 20 minutes now. So that means it's time to stir that pot. There we go, the meatballs are looking good. Carrots and potatoes are looking good. Potatoes are still a little tough. They're not quite done yet. So we're gonna let this keep going. I think I'm gonna turn my fire up a little bit. We'll get it boiling a little bit more. That's gonna boil off some of the liquid and make the stew a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna go ahead and let that boil off a little bit. I'm not gonna put the lid on tight. I'm just gonna kind of partially cover it like this and let some of that steam come out and evaporate. We're gonna let that cook down just a little bit. Okay. All right, something I wanted to show you guys here is on the cooler parts of the pot, where you see it's boiling in this area, it's cooler in this area, you'll see that it almost makes like a little skin that is forming over the top of the gravy. That tells me that the consistency is just right. That's exactly where I want it to be. You see how nice and thick that is? Oh yeah, that's looking good. Potatoes are starting to fall apart and the carrots are nice and tender. I think it's time we taste this stuff. All right, taste test time. First we want to stir the pot, make sure everything's all nice and mixed up so we get a good sample. Then I'm going to take a little bit and pour it in the cup. Mike, you want some?
Sure, why not? Perfect.
All right. We'll swirl it around to cool it off a little bit.
What it tastes like to you?
Amazing.
I'm full of open glasses.
For me personally, I think it's pretty good. I think the pepper's right on, and the salt's right on. Some people maybe would like it a little more seasoned, a little more peppery, but I'm okay with it like this. I think it's pretty
very good.
Yeah.
Very good. It's seasoned well.
All right, time to plate up. You can see I have some nice fluffy rice. I'm gonna get a meatball, a few potatoes. Maybe I'll get a second meatball also. I'll put that right on top of the rice. Give me some sweet peas on the side. Got me a little biscuit that I've just cooked. And man, I'm ready to eat. Do you like meatballs, Lulu? All right, I'm gonna break me off a little piece of this meatball, and you can see the texture inside. It's nice. It's not too dense. I'm getting a little rice and gravy mixed up with that. Ooh, that's warm. Let's see. That is good stuff. Mama would be proud.
Oh boy, man, that was good.
I enjoyed it myself.
Yeah, I had 2 plates, just to let y'all know.
Yeah, that was good stuff. I hope your meatball stew turns out just as good as mine just did. And I hope you'll always remember, stir the pot.